I think the reason why AI is so human-like in our movies, it is our fascination for the artificial creation of the human. And we have this fascination even in Greek mythology, like gods were creating persons out of gold, for example. Then we had the golem, it's also some mystical figure, and it was with like magic was put into some organic stuff, and then there was this big person getting out of control, and then with Frankenstein. So the narrative, this typical threat narrative, like the Pandora's box, is so old, and I think that's why it clicks so much to us, and that's also the reason why AI is connected so strongly to it. And yeah, it's also more like you get more attention if you like have a headline or a movie about AI getting out of control than talking about a very reflective pros and cons and ethical aspects. So it's also thinking something about our emotions and attention grabbing.
Because this is one of the questions that pops up in my head. If you look at the depiction of computers in movies, I think a friend pointed this out it was one of the last Fast and Furious movies, and there's Jason Momoa, and he does some hacking, like pressing some buttons, and there's a progress bar, and he did something on a computer. He said, he's a film historian, he said, look, that we know how computers work, and the people who do this production know how computers work, but they're not interested in this realistic depiction. They just want to have like the concept somewhere in there. So do you think that that might also be a little bit of an obstacle in using AI, not in this strange way that's not true to the fact?
Yeah, I think this might be one of the reasons people are like, if they think about a story, also they're influenced about other movies, and they just think, okay, the AI has this motive, self-conscious, and maybe it's just more easy to grab it. But I think, like for me, really good AI movies, they have these details about how is the AI really functioning. For example, the Black Mirror episode Be Right Back, or in German it's Wiedergänger. It's still a human-like AI because like the husband of the woman, he dies, and then she has this AI, and the AI has all the data of his like WhatsApp text messages, videos, photos. So he knows all the insider jokes and can talk like the husband, has the same voice like the husband. And at first they're chatting, and then he's a robot, like human-like robot in her life. But then the interesting thing is that the movie is showing it is not the same person because how the AI was created. The AI only knows what was in Instagram or WhatsApp, but doesn't know the rest of it. And so very often she realizes, okay, this is only like some picture, some like snapshot what he left in the digital media, but it's not really him. And so it's really intelligent because you see the AI is only as good as the data she was made with and the data she learned with. So I think these movies are like really intelligent, and not that you only have like AI and it's just like a human, because like it's just in her creation. So think about more about how it is created, what is the data we have behind it, and why is it malfunctioning, and so on.
So more like understanding the principles a little bit behind it. I think that's a good point to look at the preview that you brought us, because I'm really excited. I haven't seen it also. So this is world premiere, first sneak peek. Do you want to give a little bit of an introduction while I...
Sure. Yep, sounds good. I mean, there's a teaser available online. One of them, it's again just the concept. We did talking head interviews, very simple, like very little production, and now we're in the process of adding AI to this whole thing. This here does not have any AI in it. It is just about AI. But I thought it's also a good intro to really these 2 days, in a sense, like a nice follow-up to this, hard to follow start. So yeah, let's take a look.
am I scared of? I'm scared that AI is locked down underground right now, multiplying itself, hidden away, waiting to escape, getting smarter, just to kill us all at once without us even knowing that it's coming.
AI isn't AI. I mean, right? What we're talking about is machine learning. AI, artificial intelligence, we don't have it.
If we claim that these tools can democratize or decentralize the consolidation of power when it comes to filmmaking and the hoarding of resources, if this is going to level the playing field, as everybody says, these resources do need to be accessible, affordable, and done in community.
Ironically, like, it's the creative jobs that seem to have been hit first.
Going back even further, that the dissemination of printing was going to ruin people's memories, and to some extent it did. But that's the way that evolution always works. We create some new technology in our environment and we adapt to that. And there are new things that are possible that we couldn't have imagined in the previous paradigm.
What we allow it to do, or what it allows itself to do, potentially it could be dangerous or it could be wonderful.
It's a probability machine. It doesn't have action embedded within it. So I don't see it controlling us without somebody behind the wheel.
There's definitely a lot of fear out there. And, I think one of the things people are scared of, that AI is going to wake up one day and decide it doesn't need humans.
The folks who aren't paying attention to AI and just how profound of a change it's going to make in society and in culture will be caught with their pants down. And they will find themselves struggling to stay relevant.
Only a small category of the depth of our experience is fed into training AI. So AI is always going to be a category of intelligence, but not a replicant of human intelligence.
Humanity is going to have a major leap forward, again, unless we blow ourselves up before that happens. But the possibility for an incredible future, I think, is at our fingertips at this point.
If you would have to sum up the range of emotions or ideas, perspectives that are within this, can you sum it up, or is it easy to pinpoint it?
You just putting me in a corner here, making me choose. But it's funny because I thought I could also just come to a conclusion, a very simple sum up of like what's happening. But essentially what we try to do is just capture this time, this moment in a bottle, because it's like, science fiction is now reality. And we're just at this moment of this huge thing where literally the society will be maybe very different in 5-10 years. And so I just wanted to capture this moment, put it in a bottle, and just like ask around, really. So it's almost like I didn't want to project my own ideas onto it, and I just wanted to kind of gather as many ideas as possible. And so in this sense, I hope that, once we're finished with the edit and we just show all of humanity, really, which is a big task, but hopefully you see a little bit of all the emotions and ideas of people. So that was the goal, essentially.
One of the questions for someone who also not only makes films about AI in filmmaking, but works with AI in film. I know this is could be a potentially very huge question, but maybe we try to focus a little bit. What is your experience how the process of filmmaking itself is changing? Because I think if you look at what Silicon Valley is doing, how work is organized there, most likely not in hierarchical, linear fashions, but more like in iterative processes, agile workflows, something like this. Do you feel something like this coming back also to the way that you work with AI?
Yeah, I think, this next 2 days, we're going to be learning all about this. And maybe there's people that are have more insight than me about this to some degree. But I think now is the time of new, again, paradigm shifts. Because an individual can now prompt a movie, an individual, maybe for over many months. But it's not an industry. And so I think now it's like a whole industry needs to go like, oh shoot, what is this thing? How do we figure it out? And so strangely, like Hollywood is calling on smaller teams, new filmmakers. Two in the States are Promise and Asteria. Has anybody heard of those? Yeah, and so those two are they're kind of the pioneers of the space. They're both in Los Angeles. And there's other companies that are also kind of strong, and so we're, like one of my goals is to put Poland on the map of Gen AI, which is just kind of absurdly ridiculous if you really think about it. But like, why not? Let's try it. And so, but now Hollywood is calling on the smaller companies to like figure this out, because it's the small, nimble teams of people who are kind of not entrenched in old systems that are diving into the new AI workflows, and it's like the tools are coming out every week. There's updates, and it's like a revolution every single week. You can't even fathom what's going on. Oh my gosh, you now have multiple camera angles, and so and character consistency and all of this. It's like we're now here, like the time is now here, the tools are available, and now it's like, how does the whole industry adopt all these? But it really starts with small groups. So by the way, if you don't mind, like, how many Gen AI filmmakers are here that are generating little clips and films? Cool. How many film students are here? Raise your hand. And then how many like traditional film industry folks with curiosity about AI? Yeah. Okay. There's some. All right, just get, kind of like doing a little research here. Thanks. Cool.
But if you mentioned, I think one of the things that I found interesting at the conference that we met at in Berlin was someone mentioning that it's never the structures in place that are able to innovate through disruption, but it's mostly people coming from the outside, like Uber wasn't invented by someone in the taxi industry, but someone who tried to disrupt the taxi industry. But this disruption, or the idea of disruption, brings a little bit of a, you try to, I don't want to say destroy a structure, but at least crack it a little bit. So there is there's a force in there that tries to topple something over a little bit, and I think it's a question for both of you. For one, how do you find this trying to, this Silicon Valley impulse to topple something over, and on the other hand, maybe as a follow-up, in the role of AI in movies, is it something that comes from the established structures, or also is it also something coming from the side and disrupting? Because there it's more like the traditional company who uses AI to build Skynet, just to have one example. So maybe as a 1-2 follow-up here.
Sure, I'll just jump in really quick. Okay, so well, at the AI Fusion and Film where we met, there was a book mentioned called The Innovator's Dilemma. Has anybody heard of that book? Great. And so that book, it's really special because it talks about how if large industries and companies are unable to, they generally are unable to adapt because they have to be really strict to like process and, and getting things moving forward without chaos. But it's the outsiders going into the new space that are usually the pioneers of a space. And so now is the time for pioneers to just create new systems, essentially. And then the Silicon Valley ethos, it's like, just to sum it up before you'll take it away, it's like there's two main forces always at work in all of humanity: the force of innovation and change, and the force of preservation and kind of stability. And so now, and it's like it all kind of, there's like a sinusoidal, it goes up and down, but generally change is constant. And now with AI, it's like it's exponential, unlike ever before. And so going back to it's like I don't see myself as a destroyer. I'm a new systems creator and a pioneer, and at least in Poland, I'm trying to be. And so, but again, it's like that time now. If you feel the call, then just kind of you can dive in, and there's no rules in this AI thing. Like we're now figuring it out. So that's very exciting, I think.
And in the movies, is AI there something that's the structures of stability, or is it the disrupting force, or is it hard to say? It's either or, but somewhere in between.
Yeah, in the movies, very often it's a disrupting force, especially in the threat narrative. And the interesting thing is that AI always needs to be destroyed. Like, you cannot repair it or change it, that it's working. But like in the end, you have to destroy it, like with a big explosion, or like a robot with a virus that will kill the AI. So I think it's really interesting that the solution is only the destruction. So there are not so many other solutions. And that's the thing that's interesting about this cooperation and friendship narrative, because that's the only few movies where it's about finding a solution about AI and how it can be a cooperation partner. So there are not many stories about that. And yeah, we really need one. And also when you talked about the structures and where the AI is coming from, I realized that from 1970 until 2000, it was very often some military invention, sometimes also from a company, like robots for your house. And in the last years, there are more movies about like this single person in his own laboratory far away, like an ex machina, he's developing something. And very often these person are a little bit like these very modern tech people, like not engineers, more like programmers and also entrepreneurs. And if you've seen Ex Machina, this Nathan, the creator of the AI, it reminds us a little bit of Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg, from his behavior or from his like being more this entrepreneur guy and not the classical like the mad scientist who's not an entrepreneur and only at home. Like he's like really rich and influential. So this is something new, a new image.
So you mean like a technology as a product enters rather late here?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
For any of you, those two are still around here during the day, so please do catch them, ask them questions. I have one last question. What is your favorite movie about AI? Each of you? Do you have one? I think with 70 movies, it might be hard, but is there one that you think you would watch again and loved more than the others?
I have several favorite movies for different reasons, but I really like Ex Machina because of this combination of three narratives, and the second one is Robert and Frank.
You have one?
It's like, you know, I see the positivity in all this change and all this AI adoption and moving forward, and then simultaneously, like the paradox here is that I just love HAL from 2001: Space Odyssey, because I mean it's just a masterful work of art. But there, it's like the worst possible outcome, right? So it's just like, and I think but if we see it as entertainment and it's essentially, and like I said, a release valve for our fears, then like that's the best way. It's like we want to be, you know, scared shitless, essentially. So that movie kind of did that for me.
A big round of applause, please, and thank you so much.